Pablo Picasso, the famous Spanish painter. Once Picasso was moving along the street. Suddenly a woman screamed, "Mr. Picasso, I'm your biggest fan." And he reached to Mr. Picasso and said that, "Mr. Picasso, please do me a favor. Can you draw something for me in this piece of paper?" Picasso said, "Sure." It took a while, for 30 seconds, and drew something inside that piece of paper and gave it back to the woman. The woman became happy and put it inside her pocket and was going. Suddenly Picasso said, "My lady, that piece of paper bought more than $1 million. The lady said, "Oh, Mr. Picasso, just doing it in 30 seconds. How can it be possible that this piece of paper be worth more than $1 million? Picasso replied, "My dear fair lady, it took me 30 years to draw that piece of paper in 30 seconds. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and there's no guest. The purpose of the first project of professional speaker, the keynote address. It means that I have to identify the differences between the ordinary speech and the keynote speech, and what are the differences. So in my timings, I'm going to cover some of the facts about keynote speakers. What are the basic factors for a good speech? What's your personal style? And then we are going to do some activities made by the World Champion of Public Speaking 2008. So let's begin. Keynote speakers are actually not the ordinary speakers. There are four main factors for a keynote speaker. Number one, keynote speaker addresses the audience. There's always a thing that keynote speakers have to say something which is related to the audience. Second, a keynote speaker is actually a public speaker to a mass of group. He has to see the audience and the group of people he has to communicate and convey his message towards them. Third, a keynote speaker always has a theme, the basic theme for a group of people. And fourth, at last but not least, the keynote speaker always has the central idea of the group. Now you may identify that all of these four are connected with the audience. Everything is connected with the audience. That's why the keynote speaker is separate from ordinary speaker. When a keynote speaker speaks, actually is the audience also connected to the speech of the keynote speaker. So let me give you an example of a great keynote speaker, Mrs. Patricia Fripp. She gave a keynote speech inside the Toastmaster Convention. And on that time, she mentioned a good speech always has three basic elements. Number one, structure. What your speech has? What is the structure of your speech? Well, if I can relate it to your field, for example, as a civil engineer, a good structure has a column, has a beam, has a slab, has a floor, finishings. So your speech should also have these sort of elements. Second, your material, your knowledge. What do you have? What you have collected for your speech? This is also an important thing. Very important thing and essential for the speech. And third, your delivery. How you deliver it. How you use eye contact. How you use your instruments. Instrument means your body language, your audience involvement, your movements, your stance, your way of dressing, or your way of your look to the audience. These all are important inside the delivery. But for having great delivery, what do you need? You need a personal style. Have you ever thought about your personal style? That what is your specific personal style? And have you ever applied and thought about that? That how can I apply my own and make my own personal style? Let me give you another reference. A few years back, I found a very good website of a great public speaker. He's actually originally from Iran, and his name is Mohammad Payam Bahrampur. And in one of his videos, he said that a personal style has 4 basic elements. There are many things here in my speech. Number 1, who are you? What are your attributes? What is your nature? Are you funny? Are you scared? Are you serious? Are you open? Are you introvert? Are you extrovert? These are the main factors inside the first element of a personal style. Who are you? The second is, who is your audience? Well, for Toastmasters meeting, we know the audience. We are Toastmasters, and we know the purposes. We may have some sort of slightly different purposes. For example, some people may came for communication, some people may came for improving the English, some people may came for just get out of the city and just here and be relaxed. There are many purposes, but still, we are almost the same. We almost know why we are here. And we know that what are the perceptions of the audience. And most probably we know each other. But actually, when you go outside and you don't know the audience, on that time you may face some sort of problem. So knowing the audience is very important. Third factor is your circumstances. The circumstances. What does it mean? For example, you know the audience, you know yourself, you're a funny guy, the audience also numerous audience, but you're going to deliver a speech on that time in the city, one bad incident happened, for example, God forbid, a bomb blasting. Then how can you give your humorous speech? So you have to see the circumstances first. What is the circumstances? What is the condition of here? And third, and fourth, the last one is your topic. The selection of the topic. In this case, we know what are our topics because actually we follow the manual, and manual gives us some sort of perceptions. So by knowing the manual suggests us some sort of topics, and we select the topics according to the manual. So let me review. Number 1, this is audience participation part. Number 1, who are you? Number 2, who is the audience? Number 3 can be called topic. What was your topic? And number 4, the circumstances. These 4 elements makes your personal style. And obviously personal style is not the same. Because our thoughts are not the same. The reason I'm standing here, and the reason you're sitting here, the reason you have different job, different background, different education, because of the thoughts. That's why, since the thoughts are different, the personal style of the keynote speech is also different. But one thing you have to remember, some people doing the delivering of any speech, they may overuse some sort of their instruments inside their speech. How? I said instrument. Do you remember why I called instrument? The hand movements, the body, the eye contact. These are the external things. And what is the internal? Your content, your body, your conclusion, how you open. These are the internal ones. But when you exaggerate some of the parts, on that time, actually you're affecting the other parts as well. How? Give an example. Hands. Well, hand movements is very important. We all know that. We have to use our hands wisely, and we can grab the attention by hands. And once I give a speech about hands, that if you show your palms, it's another sign. If I show my back, it's another sign. If I use fingers, this is another sign. But if you just started grabbing attention by my own hands, on that time you may get the attention. Your speech may be fine. But on that time, what about your eye contact, your stance, your body movements? You're actually trying to cover those weaknesses by your hands. So what can be done? A few months back, I attended a seminar inside IEP, Institution of Engineering Pakistan, at Sharjah. And they invited a speaker. His name was Sayyid Farhat Ali. He's a motivational speaker and very known speaker of Sharjah. Sayyid Farhat Ali, while giving, and the topic was about communication for engineers. So Sayyid Faradali once giving the example of the same thing, exaggeration. Sometimes they exaggerate, and these exaggerations sometimes happens for losing the message for audience. He gave this example. Have you ever seen the statue of Venus? The statue of Venus. It's a very beautiful statue made by a person named Alexandros. And he made the statue very beautiful. It's a goddess of those ancient times. And her name was Venus. And this is a very white statue, beautiful body and everything. But there's only one problem with the statue. There's no hands. There's no hands of the statue. But the statue is still fine. So Sayyid Faradali said that when Alexandros finished the statue, he invited people, or in French we say that Aqeel, without showing the people. And people came and they saw that, oh, what a beautiful statue. Especially the hands. Look at the hands. The hands were so nice and calm, and the artist made the great hands from this statue. Alexandros was watching and listening to the feedbacks. When he heard that everybody just admiring the hands, all the compliments just went towards the hands and arms and the fingers. No one's paying attention to the whole body, the face. So he took a sword and suddenly cut both hands. The people are amazed. Why did you do that? You did lots of efforts to making this statue, and suddenly you cut those hands. That was the most beautiful part of the hands. Alexandros replied, now this statue is balanced. I did not make this statue for the hands. I made this statue for all body parts. If you just admire the hands should be cut. And you have to see the whole body, not only the hands. Fellow Toastmasters, we are the Venus when we are going to speak. If you just focus on the hands, or in case you focus on your heads, or you just vocal variety, and that time may not be balanced. So you have to balance your speech. A great speech always is balanced. So let's go towards the last part of my speech, the etiquette, the audience involvement. You may see the video I've shared in the Facebook, the etiquette, World Champion of Public Speaking 2000. At the end of his speech, first he delivers his own World Champion winning speech. Then at the end, he made some audience involvement. Well, giving the introduction about etiquette is a very talented and one of the most strongest speech I've ever seen towards Toastmasters International. And when he delivered it, he actually made it so clear and very simple, and the audience were all attached towards his speech. He said that when you're going to give a speech, he gave actually 3 points, 3 main points in your business speeches or any ordinary speeches. Use the 3 points. Number 1, replace statistics with the success stories of your personal life. Replace statistics with the success stories of your personal life. This is audience involvement, so I beg all of you to please stand up. And do this after me. This is the same trick that I did with the audience. Do this. Stories are sticky. Stories are sticky. Stories are sticky.
Stories are sticky.
And tell to your friends. Stories are sticky.
Stories are sticky.
Great. The second part is, when after stories are sticky, you have to open your speech. There are 3 main ways to open your speech. Number 1, break preoccupation. Break preoccupation. Do it. Break preoccupation. Break preoccupation. I will explain. Second part, frame your speech.
Frame your speech.
Frame your speech.
Frame your speech.
And number 3, jump into the content and just do this. Jump into the content.
Jump in the content.
Jump into the content.
Jump into the content.
Now what it means? Break preoccupation actually means that try to use creativity during the speech. How did I start my speech? Did I say, okay, fellow Toastmaster, this English class, I'm Toastmaster Aqeel, I'm going to a speech? No, I didn't say that. I just gave it some pauses, then I started just the story. So this is the way that grabs your attention. The second part is, frame your speech. It's actually how you gauge your frame. It means that you have to, just like a frame, that a portrait that you see, you have to, your speech is like a portrait. And you have to frame it according to your topic we shall discuss. And third, jump into the content. Just jump into the content. Don't just go here and there. Don't jump into the content, and audience always wants the thing. And the last part, before going to the last part, you have to give stories. For stories, there are four main parts that how you can give you a good story. Number one, this is your head. This is your head. It makes you think. This is your head. It makes you think. Repeat after me. It makes you think. And this is your heart. It makes you. It connects. This is your heart. It connects.
This is your heart, it connects.
And what is this?
Stomach.
Belly. In our case, it's called humor. You know, when belly laugh, it means that the humor is. So belly means humor. What is this?
Belly means humor.
This is humor actually. It makes you laugh. And the last part is hit the message. Hit the message. Something like that. Hit the message. Just hit the message. Now let me repeat again. This is your head. It makes you think. This is your heart. It connects. This is your humor. It's not necessary actually. Humor is not optional, as I said.